like I said, they're a good team. They're good on both ends of the floor. They got guys who can really shoot the ball, and they're missing a couple guys. So you can imagine, their capabilities when they're full strength. But they have weaknesses. If they're going to switch stuff, you got to, go out to switches and that kind of stuff. Make shots, and as long as you keep them at a transition and make them play half court and slow it down, they're a little easier to handle. Not easy to handle, but makes it easier on your defense.
All right, we're back for part two. This is the Kelly Olynyk part of the show here. Let's first go to our grandstand play of the game. Grandstand for fans in the stands. Whether you're actually at the game filming these plays and putting them on grandstand, or you're at home and you want to see the fans' viewpoint, you got to go to the grandstand app. You can download it in the App Store or go to grandstand.me. Let's take a look at this play here. It is a dagger from Kelly Olynyk in 240 frames per second, nice and slow. I just love using these iPhone slow-mo videos. They're so much fun to use for the play of the game. Olynyk was huge in this game, and he was kind of the one really shining mark on the Celtics box score tonight. He had 28 points. I mean, what did you see out of Kelly?
Yeah, he was fantastic, I thought. When he came in the middle of the third quarter, he basically immediately got going. He scored 22 of his 28 points in the final stretch of the game. So from the middle of the third quarter until the end of overtime, he played about 27 of the remaining 28 minutes. And really throughout that, I thought the Celtics did a really good job of engaging him. They empowered him. They fed him the ball. And I think that's really the key to get Olynyk going because, a lot of people complain about the pump fakes, and that's a sign of him being a passive player. So I think you need to force him to be a threat. You need to force him to score. And when you do that, you reap the benefits like they did tonight.
And, for one, the pump fake is useful. It's just that usually, it used to be that he always pump fake because he was nervous. Now, usually when he pump fakes, he's trying to drive out of it and do a kick or whatever he wants to do. Tonight, we saw a few of those kind of hesitation pumps, probably because he had Draymond Green coming at him, who he knows if he tries to drive on Draymond Green, he's going to bounce right off of him. And we actually saw a play where he was under the hoop, and I think it was Green, grabbed a rebound over his back. And it wasn't like it was an over the back foul. It was just Green's power in the air was so much that Kelly just crumpled next to him. Olynyk's toughness is going to have to improve, but he's become a smarter, more aggressive player, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit unfair to expect a player who's maybe a finesse player to become a tough player. I mean, obviously you want Olynyk to make tough plays. You want him to grab that rebound over Draymond Green. However, what makes Kelly a potentially good, maybe great player if all things work out the way they can? Maybe. I mean, there's always a chance. And if he's not a great player here, maybe he will be somewhere else. But what makes him so good is the fact that he can pump fake, he can drive, he's a 7-footer, he can run off screens. So those are finesse things that you see from a guard. So I think it's about making those attributes as good as they can be, even though it would be nice if he was a little bit tougher.
Yeah, but the thing is, tonight he moved off the ball well. He had that crucial reverse layup on kind of a curl from the other block.
Beautiful play.
What was that, the second overtime? I think it was late, or is it the first overtime?
They all get mixed up.
It's kind of hard to keep track right now at 1 in the morning. But he's making off-ball plays in bigger games, and that's good to see because they can't just be. He's not a throw it to him kind of guy.
For sure.
He's a guy that you swing it to, or he's making a run off the ball. And tonight was just one of those nights where he kind of was able to get in that kind of rhythm. And a lot of it was because they did a pretty good job on the dominant ball handlers for the Celtics, whether it was Isaiah Thomas, who had 6 turnovers tonight, and he had 18 points in 46 minutes. Evan Turner had 13 points. He had 3 turnovers tonight. Although I should credit Thomas had 10 assists and Turner had 6 assists. So those were 2 guys that I think their off-the-dribble game was really difficult for them tonight. But they were able to contribute.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, people will point to the plays at the end of regulation and overtime where Sean Livingston blocked Thomas on the first attempt by him. And then the second time, Thomas did get a solid opportunity, but he was still heavily contested by both Livingston and Andrew Bogut. And we've seen before length, like Livingston, can give Thomas problems. But overall, he still had a pretty solid game. I think it wasn't his best performance of the season, obviously, but he did what he can, considering the fact that he had some tough defensive matchups. And Turner, I thought he made some really nice plays down the stretch, especially in the first half when he was paired with David Lee, and in the second half when he was on the floor with Olynyk. I thought he created for his teammates, and he made some nice plays himself.
It was a pretty good game. How did this rank, you'd say, on regular season games you've been to? It was pretty much at the top.
Pretty much near the top.
Right near there.
It's hard to think of another game that was this good, considering the opponent, considering how well the Celtics played, considering the circumstances. It was really an outstanding game to be at.
just really quickly, Amir Johnson. I mean, that was a rough night for him.
Yeah. Rough night. I one of those nights where you wonder how can his ankles hold up for the duration of the season, because he's had some games this year where he bounces around and looks like the vintage Amir Johnson that was really a leader on the Toronto Raptors. Not a vocal leader, but someone who set the tone, someone who really invigorated his teammates and made them follow him. They followed his lead. But tonight really wasn't one of those nights, and they really could have needed it from him tonight.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us here. We will see you again next week. For now, you've got plenty of locker room videos to watch, so stick with this playlist here and watch the videos. You can find Kevin on CelticsBlog. You can find me on CLNS Radio and CelticsBlog, and I also host a WEI podcast powered by CLNS Radio as well. Download the Grandstand app. If you're at the Celtics games, film more videos at the games. We can have more places to show you. So that's going to do it for us tonight. For Kyle behind the camera and for Kevin next to me, I'm Jared. This has been the Garden Report, Undefeated Warriors edition on CLNS Radio and CelticsBlog.
We appreciate it because we know that this hasn't been done in history before, so every game we win from here on out is adding to that record. Obviously, there's still a couple win streaks out there that we haven't got to yet that hopefully we do, but we appreciate it along the way. But I think the beauty of our team is when we get out there, nobody's thinking about if we lose, the streak's over, or we got to go out here and throw a huge home run, play out in the first quarter to win the game, or what have you, to keep the streak going. That's not on our mind, and I think that's why we are where we are. Not getting ahead of ourselves, staying in the moment, knowing that we're learning lessons along the way that'll make us a better team when it matters in June. And, we're playing our style of basketball, which we're going to need, and it's fun. It brings us together, it brings us closer, and we're having a blast, chasing history.